Hey everybody, Kendra the Vet Tech here, and I'm here today for another study session Saturday, and today we're going to finish up for a little while with some more basic clinical math. What we're going to discuss today are solutions presented as percentage. So we've went over a few different sessions about the dimensional analysis and how to find out how much we administer to a patient, be it in volume and how many milligrams per milliliter and how many milliliters we give, how many tablets, capsules, and on and on. So we figured out all of that math and how to go about it. But what we're going to do today is break down the scary percentage. So let's just dive in here. And when we see a percent, so for example, on a label you would see a drug name and then see it followed with 20%. Okay? And all this means, all the percent means, is that in that solution, there are X amount of grams per 100 mils. So grams per mils in the solution is all that means. So let's just throw up a quick equation here. I put out the example of 20%. So let's just figure that out really quick, go through the math really quick, and then we'll do a couple of examples. So for our 20, what that means is we have 20% means we have 20 grams per 100 mils of solution. So the first thing that we want to do is break this down into a manageable fraction. These are pretty big numbers, maybe a little difficult to work with. So if we remember our rule for paring down fractions, so we need to be able to find a number that the numerator and the denominator are both divisible by. So a really easy one would be 100, because then if we take 100 divided by 100, we would just have 1 mil on the bottom. And then if we take 20 divided by 100, then we would end up with 0.2 grams. So this is a much easier fraction to work with, 0.2 grams per 1 mil in our example 20% solution. Now, we typically in the past in our sessions have used mg per mil, and that's what we use a lot around hospitals is mg per mil. So let's get this into mgs per mil. If you remember your conversions, there are 1,000 milligrams per 1 gram. So back to our rules of dimensional analysis, our grams would cancel each other out and leave us with 200 mg per mil. So that means that our 20% solution is a 200 mg per mil solution. So let's get started with our first example here. Get this all cleared off for us. We'll start out with Dextrose, just because in mixed animal practice it's one that we see around on the shelf a lot and it's got a scary percent on it. So we'll get started here, show you some Dextrose. So see the label says 50%. So this is a 50% solution for our first example. So we're going to do 50%. So based on what we just learned, this would be 50 grams per 100 mils of solution is how we would look at that. So let's go ahead and break this one down into mgs per mil for you guys to keep this nice and easy. So we're going to start with our 50 grams. Let's get this down into a manageable fraction again. It's got the 100 on the bottom, so let's do that. Divide by 100. So divide by 100, 1 mil. .5. So we have 0.5 grams for every 1 mil of the drug. And then our conversions again, we need mgs per mil, so 1,000 milligrams per 1 gram. Cross off our grams. Then we come out with 500. Okay, So for every 1 ml of the drug, for every 1 ml volume, we're going to be administering 500 milligrams of the drug. Cool, we did our first one. Okay, let's do another one. All right, so the next one we're going to use is lidocaine. Lidocaine's got another scary percent on it. Let's take a look at this label here. So lidocaine is a 2% solution. All right, so pop that one up here. So now we're going to do a 2%. Once again, this is grams per 100 mils. So 2 grams of lidocaine per 100 mils of the solution. So let's get started here. Get our fraction down into manageable form. So this was 1. Divide by 100 again. 0.02. But again, we're still in grams. All we did here was simplify our fraction so that it's easier to work with. Okay, so let's put this in mg per mil. 1,000 milligrams for every 1 gram. Okay, put our grams on the bottom so they cross out because we want to end up in milligrams. 0.02 times 1,000 is 20 mg per mil. So lidocaine is a 20 mg per mil solution. Okay, great work. So now we're going to move on to one more before we end the episode here. One more example. This one is, I want to show you some out of the box thinking with this one. Okay, so now we know how to do the math. Now let's take what we've learned with our math and think outside of the box a little bit here. All right, so when we work with equine, a drug that we use a lot, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, is called phenylbutazone. We use that quite frequently. It's called Butte for short. You may have heard that. So we give it IV quite a lot, but when we deal with Butte, we talk about grams. So we'll say, let's give the horse 1 to 2 grams of Butte. Oh, okay. Well, Butte is in a percentage solution here, 20%. All right, so we need to give a horse, let's say 2 grams. Doc says, let's give this horse 2 grams. We need to give this horse 2 grams of Butte. I'm going to give it 2 grams. And we know that this is a 20% solution. All right, we can do this. 20% solution means that it's 20 grams per 100 mils. Okay? All right. So let's get set up to work here. And we're going to stop. This is where I want to start some out-of-the-box thinking, guys. So we've been breaking this down from here into a smaller, more simplified, manageable fraction so that we can then move into mg per mil. But we want to give this horse grams. So we don't need to go all the way down to mgs. And we want to give it 2 grams. So let's just simplify this fraction, and we'll start with the top number here. How can we get this to 2? Well, if we just divide this by 10, then that leaves us with 2 grams. That's what we want, 2 grams, okay? So let's take 100 divided by 10 mils. Look at that. So we want to give our horse 2 grams, and now we know there's 2 grams for every 10 mils of the solution. So we need to give our patient 10 mils. So now that we've learned the heavy math here and how to break this down, that's our job as credential technicians, right? Is we want to understand the why behind what it is that we're doing. So we know how the math works. We know why a 20% solution is 20 grams per 100 mil. Now I'm going to show you an easy trick. Okay, so let's throw up all the ones that we've talked about in our examples today so far. So the first one was dextrose at a 50% solution. Then we talked about lidocaine at a 2%. Okay, and then our last one was the Butte at a 20%. So we broke these down, right? This one was 500. This one was 20. We didn't do the Butte all the way, but for the sake of what we're doing, this one is 200. Okay, now here's the easy trick, guys. All you have to do with a percentage solution is replace the percent sign with a 0. Okay? So in a 50% solution, look at this, 500 mg per mil. A 2% solution, 20 mg per mil. A 20% solution, 200 mg per mil. So there's a quick and dirty trick for you now that you understand the math that goes behind how we actually get to this number, okay? So that wraps us up for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining in on this study session Saturday to learn a little more about clinical math. I'll be back again in a couple weeks, and we'll talk about actually reading labels and how we make sense of what it is that we're seeing. So quick example for you guys for what to look forward to next time is if we would have read closely on the Butte label here, it shows that this is a 200 mg per mil solution. And then on the teeny tiny instructions here on the side, it says that you would give 1 or 2 grams to a 1,000-pound horse, and that would be equal to 5 to 10 mils. Okay? So, next time we're going to learn how to find that information for ourselves, be self-starters, read the packet inserts, figure out what the dosages are for your patients, and do all of this on your own. If you'd like to learn more, check out my podcast, Kendra the Vet Tech, either through my website at kendrathevettech.com or on your favorite podcast platforms. We talk about some careers and other fun stuff on the podcast. If you like this video today, please feel free to hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel. There will be more of this coming along down the line. Thanks, guys.